A little girl standing at the door of an undertaker's, too frightened to walk inside and say goodbye to her own mother. A man who's been carrying a secret so heavy it's crushing everyone around him. And a confession that, once it's out, can never be taken back. Next week on Coronation Street, the truth finally comes out on Coronation Street, and it doesn't just hurt one person, it tears an entire family apart, piece by piece, in front of our eyes. If you thought this year on the cobbles had already given us enough heartbreak, buckle up, because what's coming next week might be the most devastating story yet. I'm going to walk you through every single spoiler, every twist, and every gut punch coming to Weatherfield. So stick around, because trust me, you do not want to miss this one. Let's set the scene, because if you haven't been keeping up, you need the background before this next week's episodes will hit you like a freight train. Tim Metcalf, played by Joe Dutteen, and his wife Sally, played by Sally Dinover, are two of the most beloved, down-to-earth characters on the entire street. They're the kind of couple fans have rooted for through decades of ups and downs, health scares, family dramas, and everything in between. Recently, their world has been turned upside down by the arrival of Lucy, a young girl who has been placed into their care after the death of her mother. It's already an incredibly delicate situation, a grieving child trying to adjust to a new home, new rules, and new faces, while an ordinary family tries to do the right thing and open their door to her. But underneath that surface of good intentions, there's something darker simmering. Tim has been carrying guilt, and it's been eating away at him. Recent episodes have shown him haunted, sleepless, distracted, clearly hiding something connected to how Lucy's mother died. And soap fans know exactly what that kind of slow-burning guilt means. It means the truth is coming, and when it comes, it's going to be catastrophic. Now here's where it all detonates. Next week's episodes open with Sally and Tim rushing out into the garden after hearing screams, only to find Lucy pointing furiously at Jody, accusing her of spying on her. It's a small moment on the surface, a child lashing out, feeling watched and unsafe in a house that isn't hers. But it's the calm before the real storm. Later, Lucy asks Tim to take her to see her mom at the undertaker's. It's a heartbreaking request, a child needing closure, needing to say goodbye properly. But when they arrive, she panics at the door. She simply cannot bring herself to go inside. And it's in that raw, emotional moment, standing outside with a grieving, terrified little girl, that Tim finally cracks. He confesses his guilt over her mother's death. Think about the weight of that scene for a second. This isn't a confession made calmly at a kitchen table, weighed and planned. This is a man breaking down at the door of an undertaker's, in front of a child who has just lost everything, admitting that he played some part in what happened to her mom. Coronation Street has never shied away from difficult, morally complicated storylines, but this one taps into something particularly raw, the guilt of a decent man who did something he can't undo, and the devastating ripple effect it has on a child who is already suffering more than any young person should have to. So how does Lucy react? That's the question every fan will be asking themselves after this episode airs, and the show wastes no time showing us the fallout. By Wednesday, things have already spiraled. Sally, clearly out of her depth and desperate to help Lucy process her trauma, has booked her a counseling session. Lucy is horrified. She doesn't want to talk to a stranger about her feelings, and she certainly doesn't trust the people who brought her into this situation in the first place. Though she eventually, reluctantly, agrees to attend, she uses the session not to open up, but to unleash. She vents her hatred for Sally and Tim, all the resentment, fear, and grief pouring out at once. And then, in one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the week, Lucy throws a bowl of popcorn over Joni, calls the entire household a bunch of liars, and storms upstairs. That single image, a young girl standing in the middle of what should be a safe, welcoming home, hurling food across the room and screaming that everyone around her is lying, tells you everything about how far this family has already fallen. But it's what happens next that really twists the knife. Once Lucy is alone, away from prying eyes, she takes a secret phone call from her dad. And what does he tell her? To stick to their story. Suddenly, this isn't just about Tim's guilt anymore. There's another layer here, another secret, another lie being coordinated from outside the household, and it strongly suggests that Lucy herself may be caught in a much bigger web of deception than anyone in the Metcalfe household realizes. Fans are going to be desperate to know exactly what that story is and what Lucy's father is so determined to keep hidden. By Thursday, Sally is at breaking point. She admits to Tim that she's not sure she can cope with Lucy's issues, a heartbreaking admission from a woman who has always been portrayed as endlessly patient and caring. And then there's a knock at the door that could change everything. Ruth, Lucy's social worker, calls round and gently probes to find out whether Lucy is actually happy in her foster placement. This is the moment fans have been bracing for. Will Lucy tell Ruth the truth about what's really going on in that house, about Tim's confession, about the tension, about everything that's been bubbling under the surface? Or will she, coached by her father on the phone, continue sticking to whatever story he's told her to protect? It's a masterclass in slow-building dread, the kind of storytelling Coronation Street does so well. Every scene ratchets the tension up just a little bit higher. Every look between Tim and Sally carries more weight, and every interaction with Lucy feels like it could be the moment everything finally implodes. And honestly, that's what makes this such compelling television. It's not about a dramatic, explosive reveal in a single scene. It's about watching a genuinely good, loving family slowly disintegrate under the pressure of a secret that should never have been kept in the first place. Now, while all of this is happening in the Metcalfe household, Weatherfield doesn't exactly slow down around them, because Coronation Street never gives its viewers just one storyline to sink their teeth into. Sarah Barlow's situation behind bars takes another dark and dangerous turn next week, too. If you've been following her story, you'll know Sarah has been dealing with the devastating fallout of confessing to Theo's death, protecting Gary along the way, and now serving time while desperately trying to hold her family and her sanity together from inside prison walls. Next week, things escalate further. Casey enters Sarah's cell to find her in tears and unsettles her by revealing she knows the name of her son, Harry. It's a chilling moment, a subtle but very real threat, the kind of psychological intimidation that makes prison storylines on this show so tense to watch. As the week goes on, Sarah becomes increasingly paranoid and desperate, at one point stuffing stolen pool balls into a sock to create a makeshift weapon. By Friday, she's clutching that weapon, hearing voices outside her cell, and approaching Casey's own cell with it in hand. What exactly Sarah is planning to do is left deliberately ambiguous, and it's exactly the kind of cliffhanger that has fans flooding social media with theories the moment the episode ends. Elsewhere on the street, there's more drama brewing that's sure to get people talking. Bernie discovers that her long-lost Auntie Celeste, her mother's estranged twin sister, is dying, and Todd urges her to reconnect before it's too late. It's a storyline steeped in the kind of family secrets Coronation Street thrives on. What exactly happened between Celeste and Bernie's mom that caused this rift in the first place, and will Bernie actually make peace before time runs out? Meanwhile, tension brews between Ben and Ollie over a craft beer rivalry that spirals into something much bigger, culminating in Ollie's shocking arrest on suspicion of assault after an altercation involving young Jake. It's another example of how quickly things can spiral out of control on this street, an argument between family that ends with police at the door and a custodial sentence hanging in the balance. And on the romantic front, there's a will-they-won't-they moment brewing between Maggie and Brian, with an awkward almost romance playing out in front of Eva, who has absolutely no idea what's really going on. It's easy to see why Coronation Street fans have been buzzing online in the lead-up to these episodes. Soap forums and social media have been full of speculation ever since the first teaser clips and preview images dropped, with viewers picking apart every frame for clues about what Tim's confession actually contains, and just how much damage it's going to do. Longtime fans of the show have been drawing comparisons to some of Coronation Street's most explosive family secret storylines over the years, pointing out that the show has a long history of slow-burning guilt eventually erupting into full-blown family destruction, and that this feels like it's shaping up to be one of the more emotionally grounded versions of that formula. There's particular sympathy online for young Lucy, with many viewers praising the young actress's performance and expressing genuine concern for how the character is being written, a child caught between grief, distrust, and manipulation from her own father, thrust into a situation completely beyond her control. Meanwhile, there's also a lot of chatter about Sarah's prison storyline, with fans debating whether she's about to make a catastrophic mistake that could extend her sentence or put her in even greater danger behind bars. So, what does all of this mean going forward? If Tim's confession truly does destroy the Metcalfe family, as the marketing around these episodes strongly suggests, we could be looking at one of the most significant fractures in Sally and Tim's relationship in years. This is a couple who has weathered cancer scares, financial ruin, and no shortage of family chaos, but a confession this serious, tied directly to the trauma of a grieving child in their care, could be the thing that finally breaks trust between them in a way that's very hard to repair. There's also the looming question of Lucy's future. If her social worker Ruth starts to suspect something isn't right in that household, we could see Lucy removed from Tim and Sally's care altogether, which would open up a whole new avenue of storytelling around her father and whatever secret he's forcing her to protect. And let's not forget, Coronation Street loves to plant one thread that pays off weeks or even months down the line, so that mysterious phone call telling Lucy to stick to their story could easily be the seed of an entirely new, larger storyline still to come. As for Sarah, the big question on every fan's mind is simple. Is she about to attack Casey? Given how carefully the show has built up her fear and paranoia, it wouldn't be surprising if this cliffhanger leads to yet another shocking twist behind bars, one that could see Sarah's sentence extended, her safety further compromised, or her relationship with her son Harry pushed even further out of reach. It's the kind of high-stakes storytelling that keeps viewers tuning in night after night, desperate to know how far this particular arc of guilt, fear, and desperation is going to go. So there you have it. Everything you need to know about next week's explosive run of Coronation Street episodes. A father's guilty confession that shatters a grieving child's fragile new home. A prison storyline teetering on the edge of real danger. Family secrets, long-lost relatives, and a romantic near-miss all playing out against the backdrop of Weatherfield's ever-chaotic cobbles. It's shaping up to be one of the most emotionally intense weeks the show has delivered in quite some time, and honestly, that confession scene between Tim and Lucy alone is going to have viewers reaching for the tissues. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Tim and Sally's marriage can survive this confession? Is Lucy telling the truth to her social worker, or is she going to keep protecting whatever secret her dad is hiding? And what on earth is Sarah planning to do with that makeshift weapon? Drop your predictions and your reactions in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love seeing your theories play out. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and lets me keep bringing you these deep dives into everything happening on the cobbles. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because with a week like this coming up, you're not going to want to miss what happens next. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.